it's Who the Wolf, and welcome back to the Wolfang Formations Lab. Today we're going to be filling those gaps in this helmet and creating a smooth surface to get ready for priming and painting. So we got this plastic wood. You can pick this up at just about any supermarket, or hey, you can even get the big old tubs at Home Depot or Lowe's. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to fill in all the nice little cracks. We're trying to get it as smooth of a surface as possible. We're going to go back with some sandpaper and get it ready for priming. So, let's get into it. In my previous video I mentioned that I used, in one of my previous videos I mentioned I used that scraper for just everything. Unfortunately I can't find the darn thing, so we're going to use our hands today. So we're just going to apply a liberal amount across the seam. Come on. Sometimes it just don't want to come out. And especially in the areas that are chunky, don't really have too much connection, or the printer warped it. I am not the best at printing, so liberal amounts of this are my friend at the moment. I am getting better at prints. The Crealina 3, you can hear it blowing its fan. It's more of that suit, of this suit, I should say. The legs, we're working on the legs at the moment. The feet are all printed up. His boots should be coming to me soon. So I'll be able to start work on those as well. You'll be able to see those. Unfortunately, I started the channel after I had finished the arms already, so unfortunately you guys don't get to see that. You will see finished pictures of the arms when I get them back. Because new foam, old one broke. New big old portion right here where that gap was that we fixed before. Peanut butter it up. So down here there's kind of a large gap where it doesn't meet up, so we're just going to lay it on thick right here. Plug that hole back up, and we're going to start, because this stuff actually dries out like crazy, so we're going to start smoothing it out by hand. Just take your fingers, if you don't mind being a little messy, and start smoothing her down. See how it's already starting to crumble and dry because of how quickly this stuff dries. Smooth it out the best you can. No reason to be perfect at this stage. It helps, but no reason to be perfect. No need to be completely perfect. We're just going to go through. We're just filling cracks. We're not smoothing it out. But if you want to get a little fancy and get some smoothing out done while you're here, it's a good idea. Be careful of overfilling details, because once you get those, you're going to have to go back in and cut them back out. It's always a good idea to have some reference material in front of you when you do this, but I played Halo growing up. I know the look of the helmet. The standard alien helmet. Mark 6 and Mark 5 were my go-to on everything. And if not, it was the EVA suit. Just because I like the look of that giant domed head. The technique I'm doing is it's just back and forth passes like this with a really, really light touch, and just the dragging motion of your finger is what brings this together. You'll notice these wisps are appearing. That's filament that didn't exactly bond. We're going to just leave those in there, because once we sand it down, it's just going to come right off. A couple of these I'm just getting rid of just to make it easier on the sanding process later. Just pull them off. We're going to bring this back a little bit more. There we go. And once that's sanded, it'll look nice and flush and like it was built as one piece. I know some people out there have 3D printers that are big enough to print whole pieces, and I am envious of you. I truly am. They may take a little longer, but you know what? You basically can skip the assembly stage altogether. Now, some people were wondering when I was talking to them, did you make the files yourself? No. I got them off Thingiverse from a creator called Mo Sislak. Um, let's see. I am not being paid for the model. No, I am being paid for the time and effort it takes to assemble, paint, and light up this costume. As well as he's giving me money for the filament. I do not claim responsibility of that model. I don't own Microsoft or 343 obviously, otherwise I probably wouldn't be doing this channel. But still, I do enjoy doing this for you guys and myself. It's kind of a therapy thing for me, and I enjoy bringing kind of nerdy content out to you guys. So something I learned while working on the arms was sometimes this putty tends to come up after you paint, especially if you don't squish it in enough, which is why we're going back through layers right here. Alright, so this side is all done up. We're going to go over to this side now, where I kind of left this scene to do what it wanted, and ooh, I'm paying for it now. This is really chunky stuff, so we're going to warm it up a little bit, mix it all in. I'm going to have to go through these little details right here later with a scraper or a pick, because I did get some down there that I can't get out. Just cut my fingernail. Taking away my natural tools doing that. Now don't be afraid to go heavy-handed on this. It may be a little pricey at about $8 a bottle, but if you buy it in bulk like I should be doing, it's cheaper. Pretty much everything you can buy, you need for this project, you can technically buy at a hardware store or a dollar store. You don't even have to have a 3D printer to make these helmets. There are guides online how to make cardboard or paperboard Halo helmets. And a lot of people, what they do is they'll just take resin and fiberglass and go over the outside of these, make them actual helmets. I like the 3D printer because it saves me time. That way I can focus on paint work and other detail work that I enjoy, like wiring. Some people don't have the time to do that up after they do all that cardboard and fiberglass stuff. Like say if you're rushing to get it to a con or that. I find 3D printers, if you have the patience and space like this room where you can have them set aside from your family, you can continue to do projects and stuff. I'm not saying a 3D printer is the source, the end all to all creativity. I mean, there are limitations, especially printer size, which is why I had to cut all these parts up into bits. Well, size them all for my printer. Most is like did an amazing job cutting these bits. Now that most of this is all done up, I'm going to do some crack filling here, here, and here along these edges. This underside right here, no one's really going to be looking at it, plus it's going to be painted up black. If anybody's seen the show Red vs. Blue, the customer has made several points towards Caboose. So I'm going to be kind of copying the standard rookie, newbie color scheme. Squishy squish that, squishy squish this. Now I'm not too worried about it sitting on its side because if it does deform I can usually set it back. I just wanted to set it down for a second, kind of get my bearings on where I'm at, and make sure that I can squeeze this stuff out. Alright, so this is as done as we. Oh, I almost forgot these gloves back here. That's why we do a check over everybody. Alright, so it is done for the most part. There is going to be some sanding that will need to get done once all this stuff's still wet. It does dry fairly quickly, but comparatively to super glue, it does take a while longer. I'm just going to clean up some of this extra stuff up here. And once it is all together and dry, we will go over and we will do a rough sand. So I'll see you guys probably in about an hour and a half. Alright guys, we're back. We took a little kind of a more break. If you notice, my shirt's different. I fell asleep waiting for this thing to dry. Next thing I know, it was time to go to work, and well, so we're back the next day. What we're gonna do is we're gonna sand and we're gonna prime it. Okay, we got our sandpaper here. If you notice, I did go over it a little bit with a razor to get some of the bigger chunks off before I remembered I was supposed to be filming it. So we're gonna go give it a light sanding. If you'll notice, off to your right, we have the boots. They're getting ready for, they just got a test fit on the actual boot. So it doesn't get covered in dust. So these are going to get sanded and primed here in a little bit. See, like right here, we're going to need to add a little bit more because it just doesn't want to, it did not want to fill up properly. That's fine because there is a slight angle down there that we can use to our advantage. What I'm going to do is just a basic recon paint job. Probably black on these pauldrons right here. A slight silver band, and then blue on the rest of the helmet. I'm just going through and picking out some of the corners that kind of got too much gloop in it. I don't want to round those out, per se. While I have the block out, and right before I prime, I might as well sand and prime these. So there's a strip right here that just needs to be sanded off. I don't understand how this one came out seamless. Alright. This one came out pretty smooth. There's that seam on those again, and I gotta figure out why. So, now that everything is sanded, we're gonna prime this. I know that this is there's still some rough parts on this that I will go over. This is just to address any major problems with the main straight. See if there's anything. See if there's anything we need to correct. Especially these wisps, you don't notice them at first, but then you paint over them and all of a sudden, bam, they're there. You see, this is why I prime before I do all that. Because I missed some support right here. Whew. Thank God this room is ventilated. Alright. Well, no use watching paint dry. I guess I'll catch you guys up as soon as the paint's dry.